The old oak tree at the edge of the Whispering Woods had stood for more than 200 years, its branches stretching like gentle arms over the little Canadian town of Maple Ridge. One rainy spring afternoon, 9-year-old Lucas Thompson sat huddled beneath it, soaked to the skin, tears mixing with the rain on his cheeks. His small backpack lay open beside him, school books scattered like fallen leaves. "Nobody needs me," he whispered, voice cracking. "I'm just in the way." Earlier that day at Maple Ridge Elementary, everything had gone wrong. The class presentation on animals of the forest had been Lucas's big chance. He had practiced for weeks, voice shaking every night in front of the mirror. But when he stood up front, the words wouldn't come. The other kids giggled. His best friend, or the boy he wished was his best friend, looked away. Even Mrs. Patel gave him a pitying smile. After school, when his dad picked him up, the argument spilled out. "You've got to be braver, son," Dad had said, tired from long hours at the mill. "Life doesn't wait for quiet boys." Lucas had jumped out of the truck at the forest trail and run. Now the rain fell harder, and the woods felt darker than ever. He didn't know how long he sat there before the first friend appeared. A big gray wolf with kind amber eyes stepped silently from the ferns. Lucas froze. Everyone in Maple Ridge knew stories about the wolves in the Whispering Woods, but this one didn't look scary. It tilted its head as if asking, "Why are you crying, little one?" Then came a clever red fox, tail swishing, and a sturdy brown bear cub who plopped down with a friendly huff, shaking rain from his fur. They didn't speak with human words, yet Lucas understood them in his heart, the way the wind carries messages through the trees. The wolf, whom Lucas later called Baloo because the name felt warm and strong, nudged his wet backpack closer. The fox, clever and quick like a sister, picked up the scattered papers gently in her mouth. The bear cub, Bagheera in Lucas's mind, leaned against him, sharing warmth. For the first time that day, Lucas felt seen. That night they led him deeper into the woods to a hidden clearing where an old wooden cabin stood, covered in moss and twinkling fireflies. Inside lived Mr. Ravi, a retired park ranger with snow-white hair, warm brown skin, and eyes that had seen many lonely children come and go. He had moved to Maple Ridge from far away years ago, bringing stories from distant forests. Everyone called him Uncle Ravi. He wrapped Lucas in a thick wool blanket, handed him hot cocoa with maple syrup, and listened without interrupting. "These woods have a way of finding kids who need friends," Uncle Ravi said softly, his voice like crackling firewood. "Baloo, the fox we call Shere, and young Bagheera have brought you here for a reason. The forest teaches courage, but never alone. Friendship lights the path." Lucas stayed with Uncle Ravi that night, and many nights after. His dad, worried sick, eventually agreed after long talks on the cabin porch. "Just for a while," Dad said, voice thick. "Until you find your way back." Lucas didn't know if he ever wanted to find his way back to the loud school and the heavy silences at home. The days that followed were full of wonder and small, scary steps. Baloo taught him to move quietly through the trees, listening instead of hiding. "Courage isn't loud," the big wolf seemed to say with every patient look. "It's one step when your heart wants to run." Shere the fox showed him how to solve problems cleverly, crossing rushing streams on fallen logs, finding the sweetest berries, turning fallen branches into play forts. Bagheera, the clumsy yet brave bear cub, taught him the joy of laughing after falling down. Together they explored misty mornings where dew sparkled on spider webs, golden afternoons under giant cedars, and cool evenings when the northern lights sometimes danced above the treetops. But growth is never easy. One afternoon a fierce storm rolled in from the Pacific. Dark clouds swallowed the sun. Wind howled through the branches like angry giants. Lucas wanted to hide in the cabin, but Baloo was missing. The big wolf had gone to protect a den of baby rabbits from the rising river. "I can't go out there," Lucas whispered, fear squeezing his chest. "I'm not brave like you." Uncle Ravi placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "None of us are born brave, Lucas. Friendship gives us the reason. Courage is what we choose when someone we love needs us." The words wrapped around Lucas's heart like the warm blanket on that first night. With Shere and Bagheera beside him, Lucas stepped into the storm. Rain stung his face. Mud sucked at his boots. Trees creaked and swayed dangerously. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might burst. Yet every time fear whispered turn back, he remembered Baloo's gentle amber eyes and the way the wolf had shared warmth on that rainy day. He pushed forward. They found Baloo struggling to keep the rabbits safe on a small island of rocks. The river roared higher. Without thinking, Lucas grabbed a long branch and made a bridge. Shere darted across with light feet, carrying the tiniest rabbit. Bagheera used his strong body to hold the branch steady. Lucas, voice shaking but clear, called encouragement. We're together. We can do this. Baloo leaped across last, and they all scrambled back to higher ground just as the river swallowed the rocks. When the storm passed and a rainbow stretched across the sky, Lucas sat breathing hard, covered in mud, but smiling bigger than he had in years. Baloo rested his great head in Lucas's lap. In that moment, something inside the boy grew stronger, a quiet courage, warm and real. The transformation didn't happen in one day. Weeks turned into months. Lucas returned to school, but he was different. When another boy named Jamie felt nervous about his own presentation, Lucas sat with him at lunch and practiced together. It's okay to be scared, Lucas said softly. Friends make it easier. The class listened quietly when Lucas finally gave his forest talk, not perfect, but from the heart, about how wolves, foxes, bears, and people all need each other. Kids clapped. Mrs. Patel's eyes shone with pride. At home, dinners with Dad became warmer. They talked about fears and dreams. Dad even joined them sometimes in the woods on weekends, learning to listen to the trees the way Lucas did. Uncle Ravi became like a grandfather, teaching all of them old stories around the campfire while maple leaves turned fiery red in autumn. One crisp winter evening, as snowflakes danced softly through the whispering woods, Lucas stood with his friends, Baloo, Shere, Bagheera, Uncle Ravi, and his dad, at the old oak tree where his journey began. The forest was quiet and beautiful under its white blanket. Lucas no longer felt small. He felt part of something bigger. He looked at the faces around him, furry and human, and his eyes filled with happy tears. I thought I was alone, he said. But friendship found me. And every time I was scared, courage grew a little bigger because I wasn't standing by myself. Uncle Ravi smiled, deep wrinkles folding kindly. That's the secret of the woods, Lucas. And the secret of life. Baloo gave a soft, approving woof. Shere swished her tail happily. Bagheera leaned in for a big bear hug that almost knocked Lucas over with love. His dad pulled him close, and for the first time Lucas felt taller than the ancient oak. From that day on, whenever any child in Maple Ridge felt lost or afraid, they would hear the whisper of the woods, friendship and courage help you grow. And if they listened closely, they might even find their own Baloo, Shere, and Bagheera waiting with open hearts under the same old oak tree. The snow fell gently, covering the world in fresh hope, and Lucas knew he would never be the same lonely boy again. He was part of the forest now. He was brave. He was loved. And that made all the difference.